In this video, we're going to take a look at a blue ink by Atramentis, their Document Blue. Now, as always, there's timestamps down below so you can skip around, but if you've got the time, I'd appreciate you checking out the entire video. Also, down in the description is a link to the blue ink playlist, so if you wanted to see more, you can find that there. I'm an ink guy, and let's get into the first writing sample done on 90 GSM Clairfontaine. No bleeding, no ghosting. We get no feather, spread, halo sheen, no shade. The extra fine is only a hair lighter than the stub and the medium. The extra fine took 3 seconds to dry while the medium took 5. Our scrubbies give us no color variation. We get none in the writing, and the smear test I do not think you could recover if you smeared while you were writing. To have a range of experience with this ink, all of the writing samples are done with a Jinhao 159 with a 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a medium, and a Jinhao X750 with an extra fine. Then a Kaweco Brass Sport with a fine nib is inked up, used for a day, and used to take the notes for this video. The next writing sample is done on 52 GSM Tomoe River. No bleeding, very minor ghosting. We have no feather, spread, halo sheen, no shade, no tone variation. Very solid performing in that way. The extra fine took 6 seconds to dry while the medium took 9. Scrubby for both give no color variation. We're not getting any in the writing. And the smear test, you could not recover if you smeared while you were writing. I agree with Vita. There's a lot to learn by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. A line of ink is put down, and then it's put into water for 10 to 15 seconds, and we see the above and below darker areas, which I've come to recognize as being a permanent aspect of an ink. Now, it's also very dark at the bottom and gets lighter as it's pushing up, and that's because the ink is bonding while it's moving. Suspicions confirmed on the second chromatography on the right, where all of that ink stays very much in place in only 10 minutes. We can expect a lot of resistance from this ink. The next writing sample is done on 80 GSM Rhodia dot pad. No bleeding, some minor ghosting going on here. We have no feather, spread, halo sheen. The extra fine's a little bit lighter than the medium, and the stub is just between the extra fine and the medium in its general tones. Kind of strange because it normally doesn't work that way for me. The extra fine took 4 seconds to dry while the medium took 6. Scrubby for both give no color variation. We don't expect it, we don't get it, and the smear test, I don't think you could recover if you smeared while you were writing. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it may be to clean from your pen. The smear is allowed to dry for 3 days before testing. Looking at the highlighter, there's nothing to worry about in a note-taking situation. It's a great ink for it. None of it moved at all. Now, very obvious when you look at water where it actually looks a little bit darker where the water was. That's a little odd, but it looks darker where the water was. Same thing happened with the pen flush, although you do see the pen flush moved a little bit of the ink away. 1/3 bleach solution really started to make that little green dot. Not much in getting it off the paper. Now to get it out of the pen, it only took water. Nice. The next writing sample is done on life paper. We get no bleeding, but some minor ghosting. We get no feather, spread, halo sheen, no shade, all the exact same tone. The extra fine only took 2 seconds to dry. Medium only took 3. Scrubby for both, no color variation, and we got none. And the smear test, I'm sorry, just don't think you could do it. You can't recover. For the inks tested, the average viscosity is 2.5, and the realm of normal is 2.1 to 2.9. Atramentis Document Blue has a viscosity of 2.83, so it's still just normal. If you're interested in how the viscosity test and all that's done, there's a link to that video down in the description. Now let's take a look at Apica CD notebooks. We get no bleeding, but we do get some very minor ghosting. We have no feather, spread, halo sheen, no shade. The extra fine is definitely lighter than the stub, and the medium's the same tone as the stub. The extra fine took 2 seconds to dry, and the medium took 3. Scrubby for both give no color variation because there is none in the writing, and a smear test you could recover if you smeared while you were writing. For the inks tested, the average dry time is 17 seconds, and the realm of normal is 13 to 21 seconds. The Atramentis Document Blue has an average dry time of 6 seconds, so it is ridiculously fast drying, great for students. The last writing sample is done on Franklin-Christoph paper. Now we do get a number of spots where it gets very deep into the page. It is not coming through the page. I don't think it stops you from using the back of the page, but it creates what looks like a little bit of spotting, and there is a bit more show through or ghosting. We do get feathering, very little feathering, very tiny feathering in the stub and in the medium, but not in the extra fine. We have no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. The extra fine is a little lighter than the stub, while the medium's the same tone as the stub. The extra fine only took a second to dry, and the medium only took 2 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both give no color variation, and we're not getting it, and a smear test you could definitely recover if you smeared while you were writing. Instead of finding inks that look like the Atramentis Document Blue, I'd prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I decided to go with a classic red matching blue, and I chose Papier Plume's Lover's Red. Now, if you'd prefer a different complement color, then down in the description are links to those playlists. So what do I think of the Atramentis Document Blue? This ink you get for its permanence, and it does that extremely well. I do think permanent inks have some trouble shading, and so does this one. So what nib and pen would give you the best writing experience with this ink? Since what you're really using it for is its permanent value, I really see it best used in a medium to dry flow, fine or extra fine. I hope you got something out of this video, and in the next video we're going to take a look at Private Reserve's Electric DC Super Show Blue.